Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
All right, Jack Posobiec back live, Human Events Daily. Folks, Americans are tired, frustrated. Stalling economy that we saw during the Biden years, Bidenflation, endless wars, relentless assaults on our values as well. We're fighting back. And thankfully, there's companies like Patriot Mobile that still believe in America and our Constitution. I'm proud to partner with Patriot Mobile because they're on the front lines fighting for the First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and our military and first responder heroes. Take a stand for conservative causes and put America first by switching to Patriot Mobile today. You'll get the same nationwide coverage as the big providers because Patriot Mobile operates across all three major networks. Plus, they back their service with a coverage guarantee. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will find the best plan for your needs. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Go to patriotmobile.com/POSO or call 972-PATRIOT. Right now, get a free month when you use promo code POSO. Don't get fooled by other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. They don't and they can't. Join me, switch to America's only Christian conservative mobile provider, Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com/POSO or call 972-PATRIOT for your free month of service today. So when we're looking at all of this, Joshua, I don't know if you've had time yet to dig through all of the leaks that came out from Turkey Tom, the furry fetish, the toxic relationship between Tyler Robinson and his trans boyfriend, Lance Twiggs. But what we do see here, again, that we already know, even beyond that relationship, we know that he had a furry fetish, that he was involved on a site called Fur Affinity, which kind of takes the DeviantArt side and goes a step further, where the content is far more pornographic and in some cases associated with video games that are involving. So simulations that he was playing where he could anthropomorphize himself and be involved in sexual acts with other anthropomorphized animals. So engaging in furry sex simulators online. And so, I spent all last week talking about this, and people were saying, Posobiec, why are you so focused on this? I said, no. There's something going on here. There's something absolutely rotten. And when you look at the unhumaning that they put upon themselves, and it's so interesting you put it that way, Joshua, they've unhumaned themselves to a point where they're trying to transhuman themselves into animals, or in some cases into other genders. It's like they are. It's like they've completely broken with reality. So Joshua, walk me through some of the similarities you see here between, and we're not alleging any direct connections, but some of the similarities you would see in the profile of Crooks and Robinson.
Both of them seem to be of that same type where they otherwise in any era would have had fantastic economic opportunities. And this is the point of the populist right of MAGA. It all comes back to economics and economic opportunities for young people. Without viable economic opportunities for all, we're going to have a bad time. And so what we're discussing right now, as it is in most societies where far left-wing ideologies take over, it's typically downstream of a lack of economic opportunities for the masses to be upwardly mobile. And that lack of that for both of these individuals seems to be a real similarity and, of course, a concern. So we want to talk about the upstream and downstream consequences within this. But both of them, of course, being a certain age, both of them being right about the same time when social distancing resulted in what? Antisocial behaviors. And of course, with this furry porn simulator and creating video games out of it and having these, let's say, odd digital sexuality type of behaviors, being chronically online or terminally online, being, let's say, a person of Reddit, for example, which is a forum that's known for some of this, let's say, deviant kind of behavior and encouraging it and grooming it, let's say, is an accusation we hear quite often. The anti-socializing behaviors here became kind of normalized to these young minds where they live on the internet and thinking about fantasizing about, let's say, illegal activities like bestiality, obviously, assassinations. Both we're aware of, both Tyler and Thomas having searched and discussed and talked and shared their views on some of these matters. And of course, it's so bizarre to have a peep at the mainstream media. And we even to this day see headlines like "motive unknown." We'll just never know the motive. And are you kidding? Are you not paying attention to what's going on here? Both of them were able and capable of shooting a firearm, which of course is part and parcel of being in middle America or lower middle class. Firearms, of course, are ubiquitous in the United States. And when we think about so many teenage school shooters over the years, we do see some similarities here with some obsession in otherwise deviant behavior or an antisocial behavior. They tend to be very, very smart. And this is where there's real concern that comes back to economic populism. You have these kids
Well,
who are
Joshua,
promising and bright, yet the opportunities aren't available to them.
Joshua, I wanted to throw out that Cambridge University did a study in 2005 highlighting a link between bestiality, zoophilia, and associations with violence and sex offending. And this is just from their abstract. Bestiality is a subject that it usually evokes strong emotional reactions, such as abhorrence, disgust, and ridicule. During the past few decades, it's gained more interest from animal protection workers and research in the field of interpersonal violence and sex offending. Now, we already know about the research to document a link between animal abuse and violence, against other humans. But what they're also talking about here is this role of, now obviously that's an extreme example of bestiality, but you can't really change, you certainly can't separate this prevalence of online furry pornography from these same types of links. Again, this is from Cambridge University 20 years ago. We're documenting the heightened propensity for violence in people who exhibit these behaviors.
Yes, this comes back to the Unhumans template that we've talked about in the book and in our works and our interviews and publications and whatnot. Over the last 250 years, what left-wing organizers and agitators, whether they're forming an actual communist movement or they want to trigger people to engage in far left-wing revolutionary violence, like what we've seen in the past few weeks, months, and years, they will, to quote Steve Saylor, they will build a coalition of the fringes. And whether it's 18th century France or Haiti, or it's late 19th century, early 20th century imperial Russia, or it's mid-late 20th century Cambodia, or it's the 2020s on the internet. What is a fringe activity? There you will find left-wing agitators, you'll find left-wing political viewpoints, you'll find left-wing rhetoric, you'll find left-wing suggestions, to use a word from hypnosis, suggesting the names of individuals that they hate oh so much, suggesting, wouldn't it be awful if something bad happened to them, wink wink, suggesting. This is typical language. It's just now that we have the internet, so it's ubiquitous now, this antisocial behavior in times past. And this is how the communist revolutionary model has changed via transportation, telecommunications, and the internet now. We have, and we hypothesize this in the book, we have witnessed an irregular communist revolution since the 1950s in the United States, where it's been happening on simmer, so to speak, just below the level of open revolutionary violence. So institutions have been infiltrated, groups, forums, communities, anything that can have a left-wing agitator in it, unfortunately does at this point, and it's even in many churches, as good patriotic Americans are realizing every Sunday morning.
And it's just so much to look at, so many questions that we have to figure out. But at the same time, I just going to keep bringing it back. And I want to talk about this when we get to our next segment, that I keep wanting to bring it back. It all comes back to economy and immigration. It really does. Because when economic conditions are positive, you just don't see this type of behavior. And when you do, it is isolated, it is small, it is not prevalent. It is economic conditions that drive this behavior. Immigration, of course, is a downward pressure on economic conditions for middle class, for working class societies throughout this country. And you can't disconnect it. You just can't. The deviant sexual behavior, the violent tendencies associated with that, and the downwardly mobile white men, specifically young white men, who went through the COVID experience and then were told on the other end that what do you get? Nothing. There's nothing for you. Well, guess what? What does it drive people to do? Apparently, some of these cases, it drove them to kill. Be right back.